I want to do kind of a mini business course on your book, right? So you have this book, Remarkable: Maximizing Results Through Value Creation. Give me 3 highlights that the reader is going to get from the book.
Well, we're excited because we wrote the book back in 2014, and it's been very successful in the market, helped a lot of organizations. The 3rd edition is actually about to come out.
It's great.
And
congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But Remarkable is a leadership parable. It unpacks principles of applied axiology. So it's kind of a fun narrative. You take this journey with this seasoned executive who comes across a most unlikely, or he believes to be a most unlikely mentor. And that mentor begins to share with him principles that will make his personal and his professional life that much better. And as we unpack it, they're principles from this field of applied axiology. And for those who may not know much about axiology, it's a strain of philosophy that is all about values, value constructs, and value creation. So it's about aligning your values to accomplish the most in life. And it goes all the way back to Socrates and Plato. But the father of modern axiology is a guy by the name of Dr. Robert Hartman. His work is phenomenal. He passed away in 1970, but his life and legacy lives on powerfully today. And the principles of axiology are about creating movements of good. I mean, at its heart, axiology is an attempt to define and also to measure good, which to me is very fascinating, very intriguing. But it's also, I think, one of the most clear explanations of human motivational behavior.
Yeah.
Because it posits that whatever you deem to be most valuable, or what you believe will bring the most value to yourself and others, is what will drive you, and that therefore your behavior will come into line with your value construct. And I think that's very true, and it's very common sense. But the principles themselves are simple yet very profound in how they can elevate life and business. And we unpack those principles in the book.
Yeah. Well, so let's walk through 3. So number one would be what? Some of the, maybe like the three key. Yeah. The top 3.
Okay. The first is what we call the maxim of creativity, which just simply says that we're all designed to create value in life. In other words, we feel good when we do good, and we want to be a part of doing good on a larger level, and just something that we can accomplish personally. And the idea just simply goes like this, that people like to do good business with companies that do good. And people enjoy being a part of an endeavor that brings richness to life. And so the idea is, the question behind that principle is, do you create more value than you take?
Yeah.
In every relationship and every endeavor, do you bring more to the table than you take away? And when you can create that kind of a culture in organizational life, then it's fun, because everybody bringing more to the table live on an abundance mentality that believes that if we all bring more to the table than we take away, then at the end of the day, there will be a surplus on the table that then can be shared by everybody who helped to create it.
Yeah. Well said.
And in an environment like that, those who have a scarcity mentality, in other words, they try to get to the table to get as much off the table for themselves as they can, they become very evident in that they become marginalized within the life of the organization, if not moved out. But when you can create that kind of culture that's relationally rich and inspires people to bring their best to work every day, we know that happy people do better work. And when they do it with people that they enjoy, then performance is elevated. And so that's what we try to do. We try to craft cultures of value creation that believe very much in that first principle. The second principle is, do you leave a positive way? So we call the principle of positivity. In other words, in everything that you do, what kind of an impact do you leave on the lives of others? And unfortunately, there's so many leaders who move so quickly through life, they never slow down long enough to smell their own exhaust. And so therefore, it's easy to begin to pick up, bad behavior and create a toxic environment that's not conducive to creating a relationally rich environment. And so we talk about, how can you become more self-aware, and how can you demonstrate more emotional intelligence in your leadership to make certain that you're creating the kind of an environment that's conducive to collaboration and creativity and elevated performance. So that'll be number two. First is creativity, then positivity, and then the third one I think is sustainability. That simply says you need to leverage your passion and your strengths to solve problems.
Yeah.
And we talked about that earlier, that the key to bringing value to life is to find the biggest problem you can possibly find and solve it. Because the bigger the problem you solve, the more value you create. The more value you create, the more invaluable you become.
Yeah.
And so those basic principles, but then there's a lot around that has to be unpacked and help people apply. For some, they might consider that to be common sense, but it's not common practice. And so we help them unpack it and apply it to life.
Yeah.